Oh, hello, good afternoon, and welcome. Daniel Jude Jennis coming to you from London in the United Kingdom. I trust you're all in the best of health, looking after yourself and others, and most importantly, you are safe in this pandemic crisis. Now, you may be wondering, why is Jennis wearing this get-up, looking like he's the owner of an AK-47? Well, folks, it's not because I own an AK-47 and want to do damage and spread terror all over the place. It is simply one of self-preservation. In the United Kingdom, the recommended distance to keep between yourself and other people is 2 meters. Now, if you're in a store, you know, doing shopping, it's a little bit more difficult. But that said, many people in London, I don't know about anywhere else, but many people in London do not know what 2 meters is in length, or they just don't care. Since this pandemic crisis began, I've kind of realized something I've always known. Now, many people are either ignorant, stupid, arrogant, or selfish. It comes down to that. That's why in the United Kingdom here, we are lumbered with Brexit. Now, I won't get into that. People who know me know my thoughts on that. But what I will say is that we have wasted billions on that idiotic policy, which we should have been investing in people and services, and maybe would have been better prepared for this crisis, which we're not. Now, and I'm going to get arguments said, well, it couldn't, it might well have happened. We don't know. Well, yes, I do know, and I do know, and I mean, I paid the price in losing my mother, which is another issue I'll get on with later. But I wasn't wearing one of these before. I just kept my distance, but now I feel I've got to wear it because just to protect myself, and that's it. Um, that's what that's about. Now, in yesterday's entry, and I must apologise for the sound quality. Somebody in the Infinite Wisdom put the washing machine on, so by the time I came to do the entry, there's still a, a good deal of time left on the cycle, and I couldn't be bothered to mic up. It was on a slow spin, so the noise wasn't so bad, but then when it started to do a fast spin, uh, you could hear it. So I do apologise for that. Now, yesterday's video entry was, as I call it, a grief observed. It's the title of a book by the author C.S. Lewis, who is more famous for his books about Narnia and the adventures that children had there. But he lost his wife and he wrote about it. It was made into a BBC TV drama called Shadowlands. They later did a film version, not the BBC, but Hollywood later did a film version with Sir Anthony Hopkins and Deborah Winger. Shadowlands, well worth a watch. So that's where I took the title from, but I did put in brackets after a subtitle, kind of. It is a grief observed, but kind of. Uh, yes, there was the loss of my mother, but there is so much history and estrangement there that it wasn't your archetypal sackcloth and ashes kind of mourning. There was no crying, wailing, and gnashing of teeth as such, if one wants to be biblical about it. I just said how I felt and why I felt the way I did. If you want to know more, then I did upload a link to the entry, which you would have already seen, but I also wrote a piece with that link on my blog, which is danieljude.wordpress.com. If you want to read that, it might give a better explanation than I give, or gave rather, as to how I felt. I mean, I'm still frustrated, sad. Anger is still there, but it's slightly abated now. Um, you know, yeah, it's still there. I am mourning. I am all in black, as you can see, and I will probably be wearing black until the end of this week or whenever I feel it's time to move on. There is a lot of hurt. There's still some anger. I don't know what else I really, really can say. It still hurts, and there's still a certain amount of anger about the fact that I've got four younger siblings that are all were much closer to my mother, and they all knew she was sick, and I didn't know, and none of them thought to reach out and say, "Look, Mum's in hospital, with the COVID-19 virus, she's sick," and is even worse when she died. Again, none of them reached out to me, and that's Good Friday. We're now into Tuesday of the following week, and still no one has reached out to me. And it's a similar situation with when my father died 2 years ago. Then I did try to reach out to some of them, and I got absolutely no response, even from their children, my nephews. Absolutely no response. Absolutely disgraceful. Really, really is. As I said before, I don't think I could ever, ever forgive them for that. It's shabby, cruel, nasty, uncalled for, but then that's traits that they've inherited from mother, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is, but that's the way I feel. I don't think that's going to change at all. Well, what else can I say? It's how I feel. I wouldn't ask anybody to walk a mile in my shoes on this. I can only convey at this moment in time, as I did yesterday, that's how I feel. And again, that's how I feel. Apart from the blog and talking about it here, I haven't written or discussed it anywhere else. I have a journal that I seldom write in. I probably will write about it there. There may be a very different take in light that it's Friday? Was it Friday? 4 days now since her passing. So what I write there will be slightly different. Although on my blog, I don't think I could have put it any other way. My video entry yesterday, some may say it was incoherent, and given the sound quality, it probably was, but it's not scripted. None of this stuff I do on the video diary is scripted. It's pretty much off the hoof, and yesterday was no different. I could only tell you how I felt at that moment in time, as I'm doing now. And look, it's kind of like this. We're in a very difficult time, and it's easy enough so I could do without this, but that's like we are in a difficult time where people are worried, afraid, concerned, and they will discuss things on social media, particularly Facebook, and then you'll get people coming along and saying, well, you shouldn't be saying that because we're in the middle of a pandemic crisis and it's not the right time. My answer to that is, when is it a right time? How many people have to die before people start to ask questions? start to hold our elected representatives, i.e. the government, to account for not acting sooner. Talking about this herd immunity thing. Well, that policy failed, and my mother was one of the casualties. Of course I'm going to ask questions. Of course I'm going to be angry. Whatever differences I had with my mother, she was my mother, and if our elected representative, the government, had acted sooner, who knows? She might still be here. She's not. So I'm going to ask the questions, and if you don't like it, then too bad. My opinion, this video I'm making, you don't have to watch it. You just can go and do whatever. But please, don't expect me to shut up and be quiet and dumb down because our joke of a Prime Minister and his government are jokers royally messed up. If you want to kind of yearn for when this is lifting, go back to normal, then I've got some news for you. Normal is what was wrong and the problem in the first place. That's why we are where we are. And I'm kind of surprised that it's taken a pandemic and the loss of thousands of lives, my mother's included, for people to still be sleepwalking. So yes, some people have woken up, but most of the people, particularly in the United Kingdom, are still sleepwalking through this crisis, and they think they have the divine right of kings to kind of tell people how they should think and what they should say. Now is not a good time. Well, when is a good time? How many more people have to die before it's a good time to ask the questions? Life goes on, and when the lockdown is lifted and this virus is eradicated, if it's ever eradicated, well, I'm sorry, folks, we can't go back to normal because normal was the problem in the first place. Things that should have been in place weren't in place because of political ideology, the undermining of universal healthcare, the underfunding of it, the staff shortages. And again, I come back to Brexit. When that happened, a lot of the foreign nationals who were working in the NHS, National Health Service, up stakes and went back to their native countries. We're already understaffed in the health service, and we end up being more grossly understaffed. And then we get this crisis. Medical institutions that were based in London, one in particular, I forget the name of it, they, as a consequence of Brexit, they moved it to Amsterdam, which makes us a little bit more poorer when it comes to getting a handle on these things. So much for bloody Brexit. But no, we can't talk about any of that. Well, I'm talking about it now. Because it's one of the reasons why we're in the situation we're in. It's one of the reasons why my mother's no longer walking the earth, irrespective of what differences we may have had. She may well be walking around now. She may still be living and enjoying, maybe, I have a difference whether she's enjoying her twilight years, but let's for argument's sake that, she may well be enjoying her twilight years. But she's not, because, the party that's running, that's the government, don't believe in public services, they underfund it, they undermine it because they can't get rid of it. So they weren't investing in people or services, and we are where we are. Well, I did say I was angry. The anger had been abated, but the anger around my mother is still there, but it has abated. But the situation we're in now, yes, the anger's there. And it's going to be there because our government, they want to lift the lockdown as soon as possible so that their shareholders can benefit. Well, you know what, I really don't care about their friends in business or those shareholders who fund them. You know what, I really don't give a damn. I care about people. I'm about people. Because, money, while it's important, when you take things to the extreme and there's no air to breathe, no crops grow, there's no cattle, livestock, there's no food supply, then you realize that money can't eat. It's important, but if you take away all the things that we need, food, water, and you're left with nothing but money, you can't eat it. So, as I said, I'll keep on saying it, we can't go back to normal because normal was the problem in the first place. Excuse me. Take some water. Yeah. For this week at least, I will be the man in black. I'll be wearing mourning. I'll be in mourning. But, as I said before, the anger has abated regarding... I'm still angry about my mother. And more so about the way she went. Not sure if she fell out of bed or she got out of bed to use a ladies' room and collapsed and was found face down on the floor of the hospital ward where she was. Not much dignity there. Not much dignity. But if I was a cruel, evil son, I could say it was a karma of a kind, a sort of poetic justice. Chickens come home to roost. But as I said in my blog, I'm not wired, nor am I made that way. But yeah, it's difficult dealing with it in the present circumstance of lockdown, because you're at home 24/7. I mean, you go for a short walk, but if people are not observing the rules, and you've got to go like this all the time, it's like that, Well, it's a little bit trying. I don't own an AK-47. I do have a backpack, but can you imagine myself walking down the road with a backpack, looking like this? Well, wouldn't get far before armed police were on the scene. We're in strange times. That's for sure. So, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today and discuss with you and share with you. as to how I'm feeling right now. Well, put it this way. I can't discuss it with the four younger siblings that I have a shared history with because they don't want to know. I say that's on them. I mean, I have been advised to kind of reach out to them. Well, I did that 2 years ago when my dear father passed on, and none of them wanted to know, and none of them cared that he passed on anyway. So I'm getting the same kind of behaviour, history repeating itself. So you know what? I'll just step back, just leave it. But Mum's gone. She's taken a lot of secrets to the grave with her, and her legacy to me is a lifetime of disrespecting me, despising me, and now that's passed on to, well, essentially my younger siblings. They've got that, their children have it, so that's a family feud right there, and it will carry on for generations because I'm not going to capitulate. There is a reckoning to happen, and they've decided to take on mother's mantle, so it's war, pretty much like that. But I'm not going to go out and war on them. But if they, and I can't see it happening, if they come within my circle, well, hell have no fury, as the saying goes. Not that I'm a woman scorned, but I've been scorned and burnt pretty badly. But as I said, that's what I wanted to talk about today. It's been, clock says, over 22 minutes. Again, I didn't want to be this long, record a long piece. I'm not even sure if anybody sits through and watches whatever I have to say, and people don't come back to me, so I imagine nobody watches it. So, or maybe one person might watch it, so it's kind of like for an audience of one. Anyway, it's got 23 minutes long, this particular entry. So, on that note, I will bid you adieu, au revoir, until we meet again, which hopefully will be tomorrow. So, until then, keep on doing the right thing, looking after yourself, clearly, being protective of others and being good to others, and we'll talk again. As I said, hopefully tomorrow, but I never make the plan. It's just that it gets to like afternoon, I think, oh, video diary, time to do it. Not scripted, not rehearsed. What you see is what you get. So until then, have a good day. It's nice and sunny in London, blue skies. I hope it is the same wherever you are. So take care for now. We'll talk again pretty soon, yeah? Take care. Goodbye.